so welcome. We're going to get started. And first of all, you will probably have been given this recipe booklet, which is a booklet that I made all about waste-free recipes. So the great thing about that is ways of using up things that are in your fridge that might be otherwise going off. One of the ways that we're going to be doing today is that we're going to be making a curry with a cauliflower, and we're going to be using the all of the leaves and things to also make the pakoras. So actually we won't be making that in the session, but I can certainly show you how to. So it really is about, this idea of using the whole ingredients, so all of it, nothing's wasted. And there's so many ways that we can do that, even with the chickpea water. So when you have a can of chickpeas and you usually throw away the water, actually that water can be used. It's an actual ingredient. It's kind of like the secret ingredient. It has been used for many years in the whole kind of vegan scene, vegetarian scene, in restaurants, and it was very little known that you can use this water, which is called aquafaba, which is the water from the chickpeas, and you can make it. It goes into kind of meringue type mixture. You can use it, kind of fluffs up like egg whites, and you can use it to make a chocolate mousse, for example, which I'll send you the recipe for afterwards. Very simple, just 3 ingredient chocolate mousse with aquafaba water. So that's one great way of using this water that you would otherwise throw away from chickpeas. I mean, who knew? And the other thing is using up all of the part of the vegetables. So we're going to be using today we're going to be making a cauliflower curry. And usually we take the cauliflower leaves and stalks away, and you might throw them away. I mean, yes, they're great. You can put them in a compost heap, but you can make them into other things. Most of these leaves from the cauliflower, and so if you do have a cauliflower, get started with it too. We'll take away the leaves so that we've got the cauliflower head, but we'll retain the leaves because we can chop these up finely and we can use them in our pakoras. So pakoras are like an Indian snack, rather like a kind of like an Indian version of a fajita. So what I'm going to do here is just retain all of those leaves and use them in the pakoras later. Adding other things that may be in our fridge. For example, I mean, I think in the recipe there's carrot, but if you have other things such as maybe extra onion that might be going off in the fridge, or leeks, or kind of even sweet potato would work well. You can use these all in your pakoras as well. So we've got quite a lot there. I'm going to put that to the side. And for the recipe, we're going to be making this lovely curry, a cauliflower curry. We're going to use the head of the cauliflower. So with always, when you're chopping any ingredient, in order for us not to cut our fingers as we're chopping, we want to make sure we get a flat surface. So I'm going to chop it in half and then find the flat surface to then kind of chop it from. So from here, we've got the flat surface. This, if I was just chopping, I would use that flat surface because that's a good base for us. But actually here, what we're trying to do, we want to get the florets. So with a knife, carefully, we're going to actually go along the kind of score along the side of the core of the cauliflower, and just kind of remove the florets from the stem like that. So if you kind of go like that, and then you can remove, and then you can kind of use your fingers to get the florets off. I'm going to retain that as well. Remembering we're going to be able to use that for our pakoras as well, so nothing goes to waste. So meanwhile, we'll get started with our florets of cauliflower, and just kind of, we want them to be roughly the same size so that they cook at the same time. So I'm kind of floreting them off. Now my cauliflower is quite big, so I don't think I'm going to use the whole cauliflower for this curry. I might save some of it back and use it throughout the rest of the week. So we're looking for a kind of medium-sized cauliflower here. So I'm going to use about this much, and I'm just going to retain this one back for another day. And then if you've got these kind of big florets like this, and I'm going to just chop those down a little bit. So we've got bite-sized florets. Okay, you're looking at around this kind of size, okay? So into smallish pieces, roughly the same size. Okay, and the beauty with cauliflower is, I mean, cauliflower goes so well in curries. It kind of, it's just got that wonderful nutty flavour. And the benefits of cauliflower, we're really always looking at with any cruciferous vegetables, which are broccoli, cauliflower, kale, things like that. brassicas. They're really beneficial for our digestive system and our liver, health of our liver and health of our detoxification pathways. So when we're talking about detoxing, our body does detox every day. We have toxins in our environment or in our food. All around us, we have these toxins that are obviously we inhale in our bodies, and our body has a natural process to detoxify it, and that involves the liver, and it involves 2 stages of detoxification. So it's kind of like when we're thinking of detoxification, we can think of it like a kind of as if you were having you put the rubbish out, right? You collect the rubbish in your house, put it in the bin. That's detoxification stage 1. And then when you take the rubbish out from your bin and put it outside, and it gets collected and put into taken away, that's kind of our detoxification pathway 2. So we want to have both of those pathways working well in order to detoxify properly. Now, this was a long way around it, but brassica vegetables, things like broccoli, cruciferous vegetables like our cauliflower as well, help with the phase 2 detoxification. So it helps to clear toxins from the body. So that's one of the really fantastic ways and reasons why we always within our diet use these wonderful vegetables, and how they help our bodies is really interesting. So at the moment, I'm going to pop this into a large bowl while I prepare the rest of my veg. So we've got cauliflower going in this curry. This is very simple. Cauliflower, 1 head, and then we've got onion, and we've got our garlic and our ginger. Okay, so 1 onion. Just going to chop that down. Again, remembering, trying to get that flat edge. So we chop it in half, so we've got the flat edge like that. We'll take those, remove the skin from the onion, the topmost layer. Maybe the second one as well. Great. We'll discard that. That bit we won't use. You could, if you want to, another actually waste-free tip is that you can retain things like onion skins, carrots, when you peeled carrots, peelings from carrots, leeks, all of those odds and ends, you can actually keep in your freezer and they can be made into a stock later. So that's a really great tip as well. So I'm going to hang on to that, but put it into a separate bag, like a Ziploc bag or something similar. I'm going to find one later. Put that into the freezer, and then once that bag's full, then you could make a stock out of it. So that's either you could add it to your chicken stock, or you can make a veggie stock. So with all of those, the nutrients that you get from the carrots and the kind of the onions and things like that can all go into a stock, and they'll make it taste delicious. So sorry, I'm just chopping away here to explain to you guys. We are chopping the onion into small bite-sized pieces, and the way I like to do it is to keep the kind of stalk end intact. Just chop down so you're getting close to that edge but without getting to the edge like that, and then you can turn your knife on its side and again go down towards but not completely to the end, and then we just chop like so, and then you get those nice little bite-sized chunks. Because again, this is going to give us our flavor in our curry. It's going to melt down with our spices. And we're keeping it really simple this time. You can really go elaborate with spices with Indian curries. And I'm no expert, and I don't claim to be. We did spend some time in India a little while back, and I did have some wonderful teachers that showed us how to make curries and samosas and all kinds. But in this, because it's a very simple recipe, I'm going to keep it really simple. Okay, so I've got the 1 onion there. I'm going to now chop 2 large cloves of garlic and grate a thumb-sized ginger. So you should have this in your packs as well. Hopefully your ginger and garlic did okay. I know that these were the only kind of slightly perishable items in our kits, and I know it's sometimes they can go, so the ginger particularly might have gone, so I do apologize if that's the case. You can just use either just use garlic, or you can use the dried ginger as well. So I'm just grating this ginger And I find this grater really useful. This is like a small grater that I use most days. You know, sometimes these like really handy things in the kitchen equipment I couldn't do without as a nutritionist and chef. One of them is these little graters. They're just brilliant because you can grate all kinds of things. Your zest for juice, things like that. Which have most, if you have your citrus zest, has most of the flavour in. So I love to use this zest of citrus fruits and things like this. You know, grating apples as well. If anything, if you want a small grate, use that. So we're nearly there with that. We've got the onion and we've got the garlic and the ginger. The garlic and ginger nicely grated down now. Now we get started. So just going to move that away for a moment. We're going to use a large frying pan. So a pan, something like this. I mean, this is kind of like a saucepan, frying pan, wide but deep is what we want. So I'm going to pop the heat on under there. We're going to need a wooden spoon. We're going to need a little bit of oil. So you could use ghee if you have ghee, that's traditional, which is kind of like the butter, clarified butter. You could use butter, or you could use olive oil or coconut oil. So generally with oils, we want to make sure that they're safe, and they, when oils get hot, they can denature, and that can be harmful for our bodies. So the most stable oils to use are always going to be the saturated fat. So that's, as a typical, just as a guide, saturated fats mean that they would be solid at room temperature. So that would mean your kind of coconut oil or butter or ghee, for example. These are all solid at room temperature, which means they're going to be saturated fat. And that means that the structure is just more kind of stable, so that when it gets high heat, the structure of the fat stays the same. It won't denature, and therefore it's better for our bodies. Otherwise, the next best thing I tend to use is olive oil, because it's got quite a high smoking point. And in this case, we're just using the kind of light olive oil, not the extra virgin. Extra virgin's got tons of health benefits and really good for us, but you tend to not want to cook with that kind of oil. You just want to have it drizzled onto things. But it's a wonderful anti-inflammatory oil, so extra virgin oil, we should all be having tons of it in our diet as a really kind of preventative measure for any of our chronic illnesses, because it helps to keep our bodies in a good condition, and it's anti-inflammatory. We need these essential fats. So, sorry, I'm gassing on. Here we need to get our onions in. So just waiting for the oil to get hot. When the oil's hot, I'm going to pop the onions in. I'm going to hold back on the garlic and the ginger for now, because I want to get the onions started. We'll turn it up a little bit so that we've got the heat on there, just to bring it up to sizzling, and then we'll turn it down a little bit and allow it to simmer and kind of sweat, really, because onions, when they're cooked long and slow, always go lovely and sweet. So that's what we want. And we'll get the spices involved here as well. So as I said, with this one, we're keeping things quite simple. We're just using curry powder that's been ready mixed, okay? So this was curry powder from Taj. There's one ingredient in there which it's got mustard seed in. So for some people, mustard seed is you may be allergic to it. It can be an ingredient you would just need to know that's in there. Other than that, we tend to have things like turmeric in there, cumin. Let me have a little smell. Turmeric, cumin, and cardamom. Oh, there's some lovely smells there. So do have a smell, and it will kind of use your senses. It's so lovely, isn't it? And that is really what Indian food is all about. These spices are going to give us a load of flavour and also nutritional value as well. So as with anything, nutritional value of spices and herbs will always increase the value of your meal, whatever you're making. If you add spices and herbs to it, it will always increase the nutrient value, because they're just packed full of nutrients, usually anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antibacterial, like all the good stuff is in these spices. And for a good reason. You know, we know that back in the day, they used to be they were used as currency, right? Before we had money, we knew that the spices were so valuable. So it's really important to get those spices into our diet. So now that our onions are they're looking like they're sweating nicely, they're beginning to go translucent, then we can add our curry powder. So we've got 2 teaspoons here in this amount, and that's the amount we want. Now, if you wanted to, if you've got some more spices in your cupboard, you could enhance that further by adding a little bit of coriander seeds and cumin seeds, just a little, like half a teaspoon of each. Otherwise, we just use those wonderful spices already in the curry, and you can smell them. Oh, they smell so good. And then to that, we're going to add our ginger and our garlic. And at this point, you want to make sure that it's not too high heat. So turn it down to medium heat, and we're going to stir that to combine. We don't want to stir it too long while it's got the garlic in there, because garlic can go bitter if it's cooked for too long. So I'm just checking what's going in next. We've got the tomato paste, right? So tomato paste, passata. We're going to use 2 tablespoons. And now what you want to do as well is, if you have your, you want to pop a kettle on, because we're also going to put some veggie stock in very soon. So at this stage, we're adding 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. A tablespoon, it's double the size of a dessert spoon, okay? And tomato puree, obviously made from tomatoes, and a really rich form of lycopene, which is a really wonderful component of the tomato. It's like it's all the benefits of tomatoes come from a chemical called lycopene, and that's really beneficial for our heart health, cardiovascular health, prostate health for guys. So, and actually in this form, in a puree form, it's the most concentrated form. So the best way of getting lycopene into your diet is by using tomato puree. So that in there, wonderful. And then the next things to go in are our cauliflower florets, and either if we're using chickpeas or lentils, they go in as well. So the lentils or the chickpeas are going to be our protein source for this meal. So whenever I'm looking at cooking a meal or looking at my plate, always looking for the balance. Where are your protein sources? Where are my, normally I'm looking at protein source, where is the essential fats, and where is the colorful rainbow vegetables? So if you have all of those components, then you know you've got a really balanced meal. So in this meal, we've got our vegetables, of course, that are cauliflower. We have our protein source, which is, I'm going to be using today lentils, so green lentils. I'm going to drain off. And our essential fats, so as I talked about them before, essential fats in this meal are going to be coming through from our oils and also our coconut milk. So 400 grams of either chickpeas or lentils, and that's cooked lentils. Because the thing is, if you're cooking lentils here, they would take longer to cook than the, especially the green lentils would take longer to cook than the vegetables. So I'm starting with cooked lentils. Okay, so that means our protein source is coming from our legumes, and our essential fats are coming from the coconut milk. So next up, we've got to put 1 vegetable stock cube within 400 milliliters of hot water. So boiling water there, 400 milliliters. Give it a good stir to combine and to melt down that vegetable stock cube. There's some lovely smells coming up now, right? We've got the smells of the garlic and the ginger and all those lovely curry It's quite a mild curry. If you like your curry spicy, you can always add chili, but you know, if we're cooking with a family, and I know I have, my kids are not hugely keen on very spicy food. They're quite sensitive to spice. So I don't tend to use that much spice. I tend to add it later. But if you wanted to, and if you like the fieriness of chili, you know, you could add chili in at this stage as well. I would just go in easy and with just a little bit of chili, maybe even half a teaspoon to begin with, or if you're using a chili, just use like half of one. And then if you want more, add more. But you can always add more chili. Obviously, you can't take it away. So just go easy at the beginning. Right, and then what have we got next? We have our coconut milk and our frozen spinach. Now, I didn't have frozen spinach, I'm afraid. Mine got used up. So I'm using fresh spinach, and that's absolutely fine. Coconut milk. I'm going to be using 200 milliliters of coconut milk. So it's half of this can. And with the other half of the can, there are a number of things you can do. So we can either, we've got a little bit to use as a drizzle on top once the curry is made, or if you want to, you can use that leftover coconut milk. I love to make chia puddings. I don't know if you guys have ever had that before. Chia pudding, which is chia seeds, they're like flax seeds. Wonderful as well for a way of getting our essential fats, as we spoke about before. These kind of chia seeds or flax seeds are a great way of getting our essential fats in. And you can make a little pudding that's kind of almost like a, it's a little bit like, if you haven't tried it before, what would it be like? Ooh, a bit like a rice pudding or something like that. You add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds to like half a can. So if you had 200 milliliters left here, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, add the rest of that can. Stir it, a little bit of maple syrup and a little bit of vanilla if you have it, or just with maple syrup would be fine, like a teaspoon or 2 of maple syrup. Stir it around. Even if you want to, you could add a bit of chocolate. It's quite nice, and it almost feels a bit like a chocolate mousse. And you leave that in the fridge, and that will kind of, the chia seeds will expand, and they will make it into this kind of strange texture, but it tastes delicious. And it's really, really good for you. So with chia seeds and flax seeds, they've got kind of 3 benefits. They've got kind of, they're really high in essential fats and anti-inflammatory essential fats, omega-3s. They also have fiber-like effects. So they help with our digestive system to help move things along. So we're nice and, you know, things that with our digestive system, we want things moving along to make sure that we're going to the toilet, going for a poo every single day, at least, you know, at least once is ideal. And yeah, they have that wonderful benefit of just making everything kind of pushing everything through, and also pushing through hormones, excess toxins. You know, this is why we keep our digestive system in a really good state. So back to our curry. How are we doing? It's coming on. What I want to do now is we're going to allow that to simmer for like 15-20 minutes. And I'm going to hold back with the spinach for now, because we're going to use that once that's combined. So if you have frozen spinach as well, you just want to add it in at the last 5 minutes, really. So for now, I'm going to add a lid on that. Find the lid. So that is pretty much done. What's going to happen there after 20 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, it's going to be simmered down nicely. All of those flavors will combine. Have a little taste. It might need a little bit of salt, because we haven't added any salt so far. We've only added that little bit of veggie stock. So you might need to add a little bit of salt, maybe a little bit of pepper, a little, once it's finished, you can squeeze lemon juice over the top. And in the last 5 minutes, we're going to add either your frozen spinach or your fresh spinach, like that. So I just add the spinach in. It looks like a lot, right? But it's actually going to reduce. When you put spinach in, it just reduce, like it will go down to about a handful, this amount. So, but spinach and all those green vegetables are really good for, again, our digestive system, keeping everything flowing as it should. So that is pretty much it. How simple was that, right? I would serve that with some rice alongside, and I do apologize, there was a typo in here. It's got 50 grams of rice. That's 50 grams of rice probably per person. So you're going to need about 150 grams of rice with that. But as I've put in here, you've got lots of other recipes there. You've got the egg fried rice. If you have leftover rice, store it in your fridge, and then you could make egg fried rice with it the next day. The important thing with rice is making sure not to reheat it again and again. But as long as it's cold, it's stored well in your fridge, and then you can use it as an ingredient to make that rice the next day. That would be delicious. Very simple. All you need is eggs, frozen peas, a couple of spring onions, and then sweet chili sauce that you have in your packs. If you have any leftover curry, then we've got leftover, just an idea would be hand pies. You can make them into little curry pies, or you can just use it. I mean, curry anyway gets better the next day. So I would eat it tonight, it tastes delicious tonight. Tomorrow it's going to taste even better. So if usually that's what I do. If I'm making a curry, I'd make loads of it. It can be frozen, or you can just use it in the next couple of days and it will just still taste so good. Those spices will combine and kind of intensify over time. And then, as I said, the zero waste pakoras. So this is where we use all of that waste that we would otherwise throw away. This I'm going to grate down, make it into really small, great chop finely. So you've got like, it's almost like as small as it is, as if you were grating the whole lot, but obviously the leaves will just chop them very finely. Add a carrot. If you have something else in your fridge that you want to add to use up, such as things like leeks or ends of carrots, things like that, kind of odds and ends you can use up in pakoras. And then you've got your gram flour. So that is the chickpea flour that many of you had in the packs, and you can get that really easily from most supermarkets. It's really great for using when you're making things like fritters or bhajis, onion bhajis. You can make with ground flour, and it's a great thing to use. It's not got gluten in, it's like a flour, but it's very high in protein and essential fats as well. So that is about all we've got time for today. You can see it bubbling up nicely and looking really delicious. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy your curries, and I hope you get baking as well, because we've got more muffin in the recipes for muffins there. So I hope it was really great to see all the kids baking this week and really enjoying their healthy muffins. Those muffins had about half the amount of sugar that you would normally have in a muffin that would be shop bought, and they're bang full of flavor because you've used all those different kind of ingredients that we use, like the carrot or the blueberries. You can mix it up with the kids came up with some great ideas this week, either using, I think our most interesting one was guava, so I'd love to know what guava muffins taste like. Or another one was, maybe you can make some savory muffins. We talked about possibly like Marmite and cheese with sweet corn could be interesting. So I'd love to know the flavors of muffins that you guys try. Please let me know. Pictures would be lovely. Maybe post it up to the Facebook group. It was great to meet you all again, and I hope you enjoy your cooking session and keep cooking together, and see you next time. Bye.